On a cold winter morning in New York City, a man collapsed on the steps of a subway station. No wallet, no phone, no ID, no memory of who he was. But in his jacket pocket, police found a small piece of paper with only 4 words written on it. Don't trust the system. That morning, no one knew that this nameless man was connected to one of the most disturbing corporate secrets in modern American history, and that his disappearance had been carefully planned by himself. The story begins. The doctors at Bellevue Hospital said it was amnesia caused by psychological trauma. His body was healthy, but his mind was empty. No childhood, no family, no address, not even a name. They called him John Doe 47, a temporary hospital code. For the first 3 days, he didn't speak. He only stared at the ceiling and whispered numbers under his breath, long, complicated sequences like someone reciting computer code. A nurse once asked gently, "Do you know what those numbers mean?" He looked at her, confused, and shook his head. But the strange part was this. When doctors tested him, they discovered that although he had lost personal memory, his technical intelligence was extremely high. He could solve advanced engineering problems, understand complex financial charts, and explain cybersecurity systems better than trained professionals. It was like someone had erased who he was, but not what he knew. After 2 weeks, the hospital social services released him to a temporary shelter in Queens. That's where Maria Alvarez was, a former journalist who now volunteered, helping homeless patients reintegrate into society. Maria noticed something unusual about him immediately. He never asked emotional questions like, "Who am I?" or "Do I have family?" Instead, he asked things like, "How long do data retention laws last in the U.S.? Can corporations legally erase internal records? Is whistleblower protection actually enforced?" Maria had spent years reporting on corporate corruption before losing her job. She recognized that kind of curiosity. It was the curiosity of someone who had been running from something dangerous. A strange discovery. One evening, while helping him apply for a temporary work permit, Maria noticed scars on his back, thin, straight lines like surgical incisions. Not from an accident, not from street violence. These were medical-grade procedures. When she asked him about it, he simply said, "I don't remember, but I feel like I agreed to it." That same night, while sleeping in the shelter, he had violent nightmares. He woke up shouting a name, Hawthorne. The next morning, Maria searched that name. What she found shocked her. Hawthorne Dynamics was a powerful U.S. defense tech corporation with contracts worth billions of dollars. Their work involved AI surveillance systems, military-grade biometric tracking, predictive behavior algorithms for law enforcement. And 5 months ago, one of their top data engineers had disappeared. His name was Ethan Cross. Age 34. Education, MIT, Stanford, former NSA contractor. Last seen leaving Hawthorne headquarters after midnight. And the photo looked exactly like the man sitting in front of her, drinking cheap shelter coffee and struggling to remember his own name. Maria didn't tell him immediately. She knew one thing from journalism. When powerful corporations lose something, they don't just let it go. Why he erased himself. Later that week, something even stranger happened. While browsing in a public library, he suddenly froze in front of a computer screen showing a news article about facial recognition technology. His breathing changed. His hands started shaking. Then, without thinking, he began typing. Lines of code. Fast, perfect, professional.
Within minutes, he had bypassed the library's restricted system and accessed government research databases. He looked at the screen, terrified. I know how to break systems," he whispered, "but I don't know why." Maria finally told him the truth, that he was probably Ethan Cross, that he worked for Hawthorne, that he disappeared right before massive government contracts were signed. He listened quietly, then said something that made Maria's blood run cold. "Then I erased myself on purpose." He explained slowly, as if discovering the truth along with her. "I think I discovered something illegal, something big, and I realized the only way to survive was to become invisible. No identity, no history, no trail." But what could be so dangerous that a man would destroy his own life to escape it?
The file that shouldn't exist. 2 days later, they were followed. First by a black SUV, then by a man pretending to be a delivery worker who asked strange questions. Maria knew the signs. Someone was looking for him. That night, they decided to run. Using cash and borrowed phones, they took a bus heading west, away from New York, away from digital surveillance, into the parts of America where cameras were fewer and records were messy. On the road, his memory began to return, not as stories, but as technical fragments. He remembered project names, encrypted folders, one specific file that he had hidden. He called it the Ghost Ledger. According to him, it contained proof that Hawthorne's AI systems were being secretly used not just for foreign threats, but for domestic population control, behavioral prediction of civilians, and data trading with private political groups. In simple words, people were being monitored, categorized, and manipulated without their knowledge. And the government wasn't just aware, they were funding it. To be continued. But the Ghost Ledger wasn't in New York, it wasn't online, and it wasn't even in his name. It was hidden in a place connected to his past, a place where he once felt safe, somewhere in the American Midwest. And getting there would mean crossing a country that might already be watching them. Next part will reveal how Ethan originally discovered the illegal program, why his own colleagues tried to silence him, how normal American citizens were unknowingly affected, and the shocking truth about who Maria really is.